Happy Sunday, everybody. I've been waiting to do this video for a long time. I found, as you know, or if you don't know, I am I have a very big love for my Camco pedal. My Camco pedal is just amazing, and I freaking love it. Even more so now. I noticed something that maybe it bent, came out. Tighten that up a little bit. I have my key. Yes, I do. Sorry. So I was thinking, I had a video about the Gibraltar Intruder pedal, right? And just getting really into pedals. I don't know. I find them really fascinating because there's a simple technology that's you know, it's pleasant to follow with the sprocket and the chain and stuff and the bearings. Complicated concepts, but in a simple fashion. And it's all just about motion and movement and fluidity and weight. And I don't know, I just find it really, really fascinating. Which reminds me, I found something else that's crazy. I'm gonna try and put the oh, what am I doing? I'll put the picture up as I'm putting this Camco pedal together. I was looking through eBay and I found an advertisement of an old DW pedal, I guess in the 90s, and it had the identical columns of the Gibraltar Intruder pedal of the time. Even the color, like that grayish kind of concrete looking metal on a DW pedal. It's just like, what is that? Like DW was using the Gibraltar shaft, like this part here that comes up and it goes in like that, and there's the ball bearing. Identical. So I will post up a picture of that hopefully right now. There you go. You can see it. Hopefully I'll zoom in on that. I'll just try and remember to do that so you can see the serial number or the series of that pedal, so you can check it out yourself. But I found it really, really interesting that DW was using the Gibraltar frame for their pedals, which begs the question, which one came first? Was it the Gibraltar was using that and DW liked it, or DW started that and Gibraltar liked it? I don't know. Gibraltar, anyway, is a very there's some mixed opinions about it. Their hardware is really, really good. I've had teachers in the past say that it's some of the best hardware they've ever seen. But their pedals, I don't know. Sometimes they're hit and miss. Sometimes the footboards, I mean, they're unbelievable pedals, but sometimes those footboards aren't pleasing to the eye to see. I guess if you're a metalhead, it'd be more so. But I do have my original Gibraltar Intruder pedal. I love that footboard. Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting that Gibraltar was using, that you could find this part on the Gibraltar pedal and the DW pedal. Which DW, I don't know. It throws kind of like a wrench into the engine of DW history for me. I don't know, but every company starts out like that in a sense. You see it with Mapex. You see it with Pearl. We all saw it with Pearl. I'm starting to see the evolution of Mapex, and you're going through all of these companies, and to me, Mapex is a new name, so new that when I was younger, it was not at all in the catalogs. We had Pearl, Tama, Sonar, Yamaha, GMS drums, a Gretsch. Am I missing anything here? For drums, Premiers. I had a Premier. I eventually bought a Premier Janisa kit with the teardrop big lugs. I love. In the 90s, right? So Mapex wasn't even on the board. Same thing with cymbals, with Zildjian, Paiste, Sabian, and some Mino cymbals, but that was it. Nothing else was there. So now I'm discovering that Mapex did exist. Oh, Gibraltar too, but Mapex was there doing their pedals, because I'm finding old vintage Mapex pedals from the 90s. So it's interesting to see. And I have a student that has a Mapex Falcon double pedal, and it's pretty up there in quality. So it's pretty good. But having grown up with all of these older companies, that's what I like. I'm used to it, and I feel comfortable around that stuff, and it's nice. Anyway, I just thought that was a little nice, little funny, interesting fact about DW and Gibraltar. Because other than that, I've never seen this part here being used elsewhere with Gibraltar or in other companies. Not even Pearl. I've kind of seen a little bit of it, but anyway, moving on. So here is my Camco pedal. This pedal I had a gig last night, and I got this pedal back up working. I for the whole week now, I have been using a different pedal to try it out. A week before, I was using the Gibraltar Intruder double pedal, like 2 weeks ago. And then this is my trusty Camco pedal, which is it's just amazing. I just love it. It feels so good. This past week, okay, I found when I first started, in the previous video, or another video, I was talking about Tama Iron Cobra pedals, and as a little kid, how I learned heel toe technique. And it has just been an utter joy to play on this footboard again. This is technically not the Iron Cobra pedal that I'm going to show you. It took me a little bit of searching, but I did find it. It's called the HP 20. And it's pre-Iron Cobra. So the footboard is there. Now the reason I was looking into this, first of all, I love this footboard. But that's for nostalgic reasons, I think. Because when I was a little kid, this is the first I bought the Iron Cobra, where it was the same footboard, but in the center, these lines were black. And they had evolved the sprocket from what I'm going to show you now. But it does say the Legend of Innovation is down here, which is on the Iron Cobras, even to this day. This is, like I said, HP 20. Still works, but I was really interested in this pedal because, first of all, I wanted to relive the experience of playing this footboard, because I grew up on this. Kicking myself for giving it away and when I was in college. But my research into pedals is I've really gotten a much stronger grasp on pedal, the way they work, and my eyes have started to see little nuances that are really important with pedals, for me at least. And one of which is the sprocket here. And this is a big subject with pedals. When you get into pedals, whether you have a sprocket that is circular or not, the eccentric sprockets or the round sprockets. The round sprockets are still in major use right now and highly recommended by a lot of very important people. Camco Tama's reissuing their Camco pedal to this day with this sprocket. DW has the same sprocket. Sonar has the same sprocket with the Jojo Meyer Perfect Balance pedal. This circular sprocket. There are variations of this, which is really interesting. Sometimes it's the center's off sprocket, like the axle, or the bar going through the sprocket is not in the center, and it was like they were kind of working out the idea of accelerators and eccentric sprockets, but instead of changing the shape of this sprocket, they would just reposition the hole in the sprocket so it would create kind of an accelerator or a turbo sprocket. Now they just make the sprocket that shape, right? And Pearl has ones where, I think it's Pearl and Tama, they're all having a handful of variations of this sprocket. I really like the circular one. I'm kind of in that category. So I wanted to find what got me interested about this Tama one, right? I was wondering, can I find essentially the simplicity? Does Tama have essentially the simplicity of this circular sprocket? See how thin it is, single chain. It's so simple. This is the Elvin Jones style model, you know. I was thinking, well, Tama, when I was searching, when they were going out of Camco and then into the Iron Cobras, there's this middle spot, and I was thinking that's where that pedal's going to be. I want to find this footboard with this simplicity, and I did, and I've been playing with it all week. I had to tweak it up a little bit. I cleaned it up a little bit. I also had to learn how to do that a little bit. I'm still cleaning it a little bit to get back to the nice shiny metal. So I did. And what I'm going to show you, I essentially bought, it's almost the Camco pedal with the Iron Cobra, the original Iron Cobra footboard. And that's exactly what I wanted. Because just for nostalgic sake, which that's what it's part of this whole experience, playing drums. But also because I wanted to see if having that footboard, it being wider on my foot would make a big difference, and it did. It does make a difference. I just wanted to compare that. So here it is. I bought for nothing, literally nothing. Now there are some problems, but it's a good workhorse pedal. I am going to get the locking system here that Iron Cobra has, which I put on my Camco pedal. See that? Now, it's so funny because I thought that this was new. And when I was younger, I wasn't... This whole thing here, in magazines today, they advertise them as being brand new kind of things, They're not. They've been around since the 90s. Iron Cobra has been producing the system where that form fits into the sleeve here, and it locks the spring in place since like the 90s. I saw this late 90s. So I mean, it's been around forever, and it's for me relatively. I mean, what forever? More than 20 years, and I didn't know that. If you look at the catalogs, it's advertised as not something that's been around for 20 years, something that is just a part of today's pedal. So if you don't know, you might think that it's something brand new today. So it's a very good strategic marketing tool. Like, we're innovating, you know, anyway. But, so it's about $8. I'm going to get one and put it over here on this end here. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is original, except for the spring, which comes from the Iron Cobras, the Tama ones. This is your typical nut washer, spring washer, nut combination, which is what Gibraltar used at that time too. And it does feel like it stays in place. It locks in place. But it can slip, technically, and that one, right, cannot slip. So for $8, I'm going to get that one. Now, here it is. Look at this. Right. Now, here they are. Now, you see the difference in the footboard. All right. I'm going to try and line it up in the screen so you can see roughly they are same. I can get them anyway to look the same length, but I'm going to measure them for you. So you see how little by little that this one, they start making it into a, well, this one came first, and then they brought this one. So you can see the form, the evolution of the shape here. And now the Iron Cobras today kind of are this, you know, they're maybe a little wider here, and they come down to like two lines, antlers, or two lines here that open up instead of lines like this. But anyway, Iron Cobra is pretty much using this form now instead of this form. I love this thing. I just love looking at it. I love it. And it feels good under your foot. Now check this out. See the sprocket? Now this is, right? Now look at the sprocket. Look. Oh. Yeah. And they call this, it's like the Camco, they call this the rolling glide sprocket. Now you look at this, see there's a good shot of it. And now look at the Camco. This is an original Camco, it's not the reissue. Let's see if I can get them both in the picture. Look. You are essentially looking at, look at that. See? You're essentially looking at a Camco build with the Iron Cobra footboard, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how it would work. How the weights of a Camco and the sprocket, the single chain, the whole thing. This part is all the same. See? Just look at this. This is the same. Okay. The Iron Cobra looks a little smaller. I'm looking at this part. It looks a little thinner right here. Towards this one. That's right. This. Right? Looks a little beefier, this one, than this one, right? But the screw here goes into a shaved off bar, as does the Camco pedal. As it does not I never noticed that. I thought it did. Well, it hasn't moved. That's amazing. I always thought that it was... But there is a hole there. Look, they have... See that? There's a hole there. So I bet you that Allen wrench, that Allen goes right into that hole. Huh. Anyway, that's wild. It hasn't moved. I always thought it would. Anyway. You can see the bearings here. Look at those right there. To this one. Okay. We're looking at big brother, little brother. Now, what's different? Well, the size between these two I'll measure a little bit. We got about 4.5 at the top. 4.5 at the top. You can see by this it's the same height. You can just see that. Maybe a millimeter different. You can see that. The footboards, I was curious about the length of the footboard because looking at the Iron Cobra footboard, I thought, well, it probably is larger, but it's actually not. When you measure the footboard, okay, you get 10 inches. 10 inches from, now look what I'm measuring here. I'm measuring from the top there to this line. To this line, not this line. This line. That's 10 inches. Okay. The Camco one, a little different. Because if I measure from the top, same way, to that spot, that was 10 inches. This is 9.5. 9.5. Roughly. 9.5. However, the Camco pedal has this plate that keeps your foot from sliding up and hitting the chain and ruining your shoe, for example, right here. So when you add that in addition to, the Camco actually turns out to be an 8-inch length footboard. 8 inches. With, this was 10. 10. That's 2 inches more in your foot. To get you to understand this, you have that much more on the back of your foot to play with. Hence why I easily developed as a little kid heel-toe technique. There's that much more. So for a little kid at like 9, 10, 11 years old, now at that time when I got the Iron Cobra, I was, I remember Rob, my friend Rob and I, we went to Guitar Center up in Rockville, Maryland. And I bought that. He was driving. I couldn't drive, so that means he drove me, so that I was not 16, that's for sure. I wasn't 15. He was driving me. He was still in school, so I was with him because he was older than me. So that puts me, I was in high school, so I'm like 13. 13. Maybe 14, but 13. 13, because 14, then I was with him for 1 year in high school. Maybe 2. So it's either 13 or 14 when I bought that. So that means 1993 or 94, which is pretty good because that's when the Iron Cobra came out. So a little 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid on a 10-inch board, heel-toe technique, it's great. You know, you fly. That's why. So again, 10 inches as opposed to 9, but actually 8 inches of playing space on a Camco. I noticed something else. This HP 20 Tama, right? First of all, there's more play here. Right? The footboard, the hinge down here lets this happen a little bit. A little too much for me, but it's okay. The Camco pedal, it does it too. But for some reason, I don't feel like it does it as much. Maybe it's the fact that it's a longer board, so it does that. Maybe that's the reason why. Number 2, the feel, which is actually number 1. I put a brand new beater on this. They're roughly the same heights. So the weights, I think this Vic Firth one is a little heavier, which plays a big part of that in your feel. But as I was playing this, I was trying all my typical week: funk music, rock music, country, jazz, blues, all different tempos, slow to medium up stuff, and doing gospel kind of drumming with drum fills, so that implies a lot of foot technique. John Bonham double bass hits as well. Try it out, and it's really interesting. It felt definitely more rock than the Camco pedal, this Iron Cobra. It felt more. I felt the chain more, if that makes any sense. I felt I felt it more. I feel the HP 20 more than the Camco pedal, in a not necessarily in a heavier sense, but just in a more of a presence. The board, it's like a flatter feel. I know that sounds kind of stupid because the board is flat, but it does sound. It feels flat. It feels flat, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling. There's more space on this, obviously, on this HP 20 to put your foot on, and it's a nice feeling. It's a very nice feeling. I was playing with Samba shoes, Adidas Samba shoes, just if you are wondering. I was having a little difficulty getting as fast as I can with the Camco pedal, which is funny because there's 2 inches more on this pedal, which means that I should be able to do it more. However, should be able to do it faster. But faster in the sense of typical bass drum technique and not like heel toe technique. Just basic, either foot and then you fall down like this, or just always on your toes. I felt like I was more accurate with the Camco pedal, and it was more comfortable than with the Tama. So I had to adjust the springs a little bit, this spring, and I also raised the footboard. It was really slow. I don't like the footboard when it's too low, so I raised the footboard. I took out a few links. I took out technically 3 links of this chain on the HP 20. So it raised the footboard up to something that you can kind of even see it there. They kind of look identical height. See? They look pretty parallel. There's not, if it wasn't, it would be like that, or like this. So that I like that a lot, having the footboard up more so than the angle of this beater. And that really, really helped out. It felt like putting a brand new belt on the motor, and it just really felt like, okay, I'm back to normal again when I brought the footboard up. I started to play around with 3 notes at a time, or that's 4, got, Like I was able to do that with heel toe technique and adding one more note with my foot. I was able to do that kind of thing. Almost the first day I noticed I was able to do that, which I was not able to do with the Camco, or it didn't inspire me to do that with the Camco pedal. However, I can do doubles with the Camco great. John Bonham style doubles. So it's kind of, however, I'm kind of undecided for the moment. However, I noticed something else that I think plays into the fact that the Camco still feels better. And it's not the footboard. It has to do with the sprocket, I think. The sprocket on this one, I would love, actually, to take the sprocket off on both of these and weigh them. Because I have a feeling that the sprocket on the HP20 is heavier, is considerably heavier than the sprocket on the Camco. When you look at the sprocket on the Camco, what you see is, you see the part that accepts the beater, which is very classic, very minimal, very classic of the period. I don't know if you can see this properly, but it's not overabundant. It's just, it's there and that's it. It's not bulky. There's 2 screws there, so there's an extra key screw that maybe adds, like, I don't know how much, but anyway, it's nothing. The Camco has this chain guard, which I like. I think it keeps the chain on the sprocket, which this one has a, maybe that's, I don't know. I like this chain guard. I'm not sure why. But anyway, but when you look at the sprocket of the Camco pedal, it's just that disc. See, it's just the disc. And when you look at the one on the HP20, okay, it's not just a disc. This is the rolling glide. Now, the Camco came out before this one, so you'd think, why did they do that? I don't know. But they beefed up the spot where, on the sprocket here, this part right there, which is not on the Camco. Again, see, it's not there. This part right here, you can see it better on the back end. See? This part is much beefier right there. And I think that actually contributes a little bit more to the weight that you're catapulting, throwing around, trying to move. It's just a little bit, but I think it's got to be heavy enough anyway to support the sprocket. And that little bit more, you got to deal with. And I'm wondering if that's what makes the Camco feel a little bit faster. Now, in all honesty, we're only talking about this part right here coming out that feels that's extra, because inside there, inside in this spot, the sprocket to this part that accepts the beater, right there, that piece of metal, that extra metal is on this one too. See, right, it's right there. That little space there, that metal right there. Now, so I was a little confused, and then I looked at this today and I realized what the difference is. On top of all of this other stuff, on the Camco pedal, the sprocket is screwed directly into the part that holds the beater. This part right here. Okay? When you look on this, you see 3 screws. Typical Camco, you see those 3 screws right through the sprocket. And the sprocket is then screwed into the part that accepts the beater. So when you move, you're moving the beater. You're not moving the axle, the bar here, that's then moving the beater. You are moving the beater simultaneously as you are moving the bar. Now, we are probably talking about like a hair of a difference in speed, but anyway, it's directly connected to the beater. okay, on the Camco. But on the HP20, it's not. On the HP20, I noticed something. It's not. The beater is not screwed on to the sprocket. The beater can be repositioned. You can take this as a little Allen, screw here, and you undo this, and this beater can slide anywhere it wants to on this bar. As can the sprocket. So I don't know why they did that, but they beefed up the sprocket part and unscrewed it and made it free from the beater part. And that little extra thing that they did, it added up somehow. It's very mysterious, this stuff, because it's like you don't understand how the weights add up. But anyway, as opposed to the Camco, when you look at the Camco, the part that accepts the beater is a little beefier, but it certainly doesn't come on the other end of the sprocket as it does on this one. So you can see it right. So I get this. I'll get that in line. So you can see that part right there, and then see this right there. It's extra, and inside in there, it's I don't know what kind of gauge metal that is. I don't know how heavy it is compared to the part that's in here. That's a little extra. But regardless, that's a difference between the two. Other than that, and maybe the difference in the beater, there's an extra key screw on the Camco. They got the extra chain guard here. Other than that, I mean, it's identical. When you look on this side, look at this. You can't tell which is the Camco. If you're looking on the bottom where the hinges are down here, you can't tell which one is Camco and which one is the HP20. If I do this, and let's say you don't look at the footboard, which one's the Camco and which one's the HP20? It's kind of hard to tell. See? So then I said, well, can I take, now this is what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to take the footboard of this HP20 and put it on the Camco and see how that feels. So essentially, it's the Camco mechanism here with the sprocket, but with the larger footboard. And I think that is going to be my final resting spot. I'll do it right now. That's going to be my final resting spot with this pedal. Although I do thoroughly enjoy the Camco pedal look. I'm going to see. It works. I already tried it. I'm just going to put it in, the chain mechanism right here on the bottom. It accepts the Tama footboard. So watch this. So there comes off my Camco. Take this off. I should actually reverse it, see what happens, see how they feel. It's very funny. See this? The screw's a little smaller. Putting the Tama HP20 footboard on the Camco. Sweet mother. Sweet mother. And I think we are going to have as they say in French, mega boot. Unbelievable win with this combination. I think this is going to be quite amazing. Yeah. I think this is going to be utterly amazing to feel. See, it accepts it. Which is... I'm more of a fan of this pedal, the Iron Cobra HP20, which is essentially an Iron Cobra pedal footboard, than the new Iron Cobra footboard. There it is. That's it. Done. So now I have I have Camco sprocket, Camco framework with an Iron Cobra footboard. Yikes! So I just got 2 inches more on my Camco sprocket. I am just going to be going nuts with this, I think. It's just like, you see guys like, look how much it moves, you know, and it'll go like that for days, you know. They do this. Oh, that means so much. Yeah, that's great. You know, that's great. I don't know. I guess so. You know, I guess it adds up. I don't know. It'll go for days. Yeah, you know, it's not. That's not. I thought that was funny because actually I'm gonna use a different screw here. I put the old one on. It's going through the board. See, you can see the board. You can see the screw here. I'm gonna put the other one on because the Camco has the part that comes up, so you don't have that. Anyway, I always thought that was funny. They do that pedal thing and it just goes on for days, and that's why it's a good pedal. Not really. I mean, you can have a pedal that feels terrible under your foot that still has no friction. It doesn't mean anything. It's about feel, especially if you're playing music that is about feel, like funk music and country music and ballads, and not just blasting 30 seconds as fast as you can, as many as you can, across as many measures as you can. I'm talking about like Lionel Richie feel. I'm talking about like John J. Robinson, Jeff Porcaro feel, getting a pocket. It's got to feel good. It's not just about being quick. Being frictionless. It's not, it's not about that. I'm sure, I'm not going to go into the analogies, but you can, anyways, so I put the smaller, while I was talking, I put the smaller key screw in the bottom because on the Camco, they have this lip here, so this bigger screw doesn't matter. It's behind the lip. I put it there because I like to see it. So that is it, folks. I just made a hybrid version of my Camco pedal. And I will test this out and I will get back to you about this. So happy drumming, happy pedal hunting, and more soon. Thanks for watching.